Hi, this is Alvin, and welcome to Kickstart Commerce podcast, where we share search marketing and domain name investing strategies to help you learn and grow your business. In today's episode, our guest is none other than the fabulous Tess Diaz, Business Development Coordinator of Media Options. In addition to Tess's business development function, she's also the face and voice and host of DomainSherpa.com, an educational website to learn all of the secrets of the domain name industry directly from its experts. So today, Tess and I will discuss her professional experience, as well as how she got her start in the domain name industry, as well as her day-to-day responsibilities in overseeing Media Options, the industry-leading premium domain name broker, and then what's life been like since becoming the host and face of DomainSherpa.com. So Tess, welcome, and thank you for making time to join us today.
Thanks so much, Alvin. This is going to be great.
Indeed it is. And so to kick things off, tell our listeners just a bit about who you are and your domain name industry experience.
Sure. Well, my name is Tess, not to be confused with the wonderful Tessa Holcomb. It's an unusual name, but we've both been in the industry for a very long time. I'm based in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. And I've been with Media Options for about 5.5 years now. I started working with Drew before he founded Media Options, I believe, in around 2007, maybe. I entered the domain space in 2006 as an account executive at GoDaddy for GoDaddy's VIP clients. So I think that's a good summary, eh?
Yeah, so obviously I look at it and I go, now, most of us, we go to school for something or college and get a degree in something. How in the world what made you choose the domain industry?
Yeah, not domains. Nobody goes to school for domains yet. Although I'm sure someday there will be classes at least, if not more.
Like dnacademy.com, huh?
Absolutely. Yep, you're right. Good plug. And DN Academy is fabulous. Not only do they do education for employees at registrars, but also just for the average viewer who wants a place to learn and grow. So I think we have a great ecosystem for educating people entering this space between structured classes like that, your podcast, DomainSherpa. I think altogether, really, we do create a great place since there is no formal education out there. But I got into domaining really by chance. I didn't even know what GoDaddy was. I was looking for a job. I wanted something, flexible schedule, and I knew that my degree wasn't anything that I wanted to work in. So I started working at GoDaddy, learned about domain names, became, pretty passionate about it. So, not much of a story there. But then I worked with the executive accounts department, and that was just this really motivated, curious group with diverse backgrounds who all really wanted to be able to truly consult in the industry. So we educated ourselves and each other and had a unique advantage where we were speaking with domain investors every single day, and we could put together their stories and their, successes, failures, struggles, and aha moments. We could put all that together, and then the team of us, there were 12 to 25 of us, depending over the years, then we would all share that with each other. So it was just the perfect mix to really, create that educational space.
And so that was back, early 2000s or?
I started there in 2006, and I believe it was 2012 when I left, I think. I left shortly, about a year after GoDaddy sold.
Gotcha. So then I guess you were primarily focused, I guess, if we were to say acquisitions and divestitures, or is that more that you're focused just on acquisition?
Actually, no. What I really did, the executive account department at GoDaddy, I think it's pretty much still the same. So I had between 300 and 600 dedicated clients whom I would speak with every day and do, any type of account management that they needed. It was primarily sales, so we would be selling, new TLDs or just new registrations. We would create tools to create domain name generator lists, or we'd have a client, we'd see they were buying a lot with certain keywords, and then we would search those keywords or create a tool that would to offer them more to sell to them. So we didn't do a lot of, and maybe it's just a terminology difference. We didn't do, because GoDaddy didn't have the legal hullabaloo to be a broker. So we didn't do acquisitions and sales like that. But we did do a lot of selling, new registrations or premium names or things like that.
Gotcha. No, that makes perfect sense. And so really, I guess you stepped into this role and it was, you hit the ground running and being adventurous and learning things on the job to become successful.
It was definitely an adventure. And I really think domaining always is an adventure. I mean, do you know anyone who, I just think, it's such a unique industry, so many opportunities, such uncharted ground. I think it takes a sense of adventure for anyone to be in domaining, and it doesn't have to be high risk, but it is more uncharted ground. I love this space.
That's good. And so you worked there at GoDaddy for, I guess, roughly 5 to 6 years, think 6 years. Then, what called you from GoDaddy, I guess, over to Media Options?
Oh, there were a lot of things. More than anything, it was the timing in my life. It was the timing with Media Options. Definitely Drew had grown to be a very special client of mine. And his business was expanding and ready for something else. But I was too. GoDaddy was wonderful to me. Things were different after they sold. And I knew there were just, like after any sale, there are some just, simple things to work out and adjustments that are very normal. But I wasn't really ready to go through that with GoDaddy again because, they went through quite a few changes beforehand, being a small company growing in size and, trying to prep for IPO and then selling privately. There were so many changes, and they were all good and built towards something even better, but personally, I just wasn't ready for, round 12.
And so then how in the world did you meet Drew? And we're, I guess, referencing the name Drew, but Andrew Rosener, the CEO of Media Options. So tell us a little bit about how you met Drew and how things, I guess, transitioned from GoDaddy into Media Options.
Oh, sure. And I don't want to, tell a story that maybe has been told too much. We try to be short. Wish me luck. So Andrew was a lead at GoDaddy for me of someone who'd been buying a handful of domains and didn't yet qualify for the executive account program in terms of money spent or domains owned, but, had the potential to grow into that. And so I was assigned to reach out to him. And we just instantly connected. I had just moved back from Germany. He had just married a German. We grew up about 30 minutes apart from each other. He grew up in Providence. I grew up in a small town in southern Massachusetts. So we just had all sorts of things in common. And both of us could, both of us are very curious and talkative. So we would just at first we would just talk on his commute for hours, and then we would talk while he was at work when, he was able to talk and work at the same time. And it just grew from there.
Nice. Nice. So then in terms of, because obviously we see you as the face of DomainSherpa.com, and then likely many of the listeners may have had some communication or some introduction to you at some point. But, one of the things that kind of went through my mind, which is one of the reasons we're doing this interview, is based on when us meeting at NamesCon, I was like, okay, well, this is the new host, but who is Tess and what does she do it for Media Options? So if you could share with us just a bit, business development coordinator, what does that truly mean?
I don't know. So I'm the business development coordinator at Media Options. So we are a brokerage firm. So I do a lot there, really. Wear a lot of hats, as any, small business would. So I work a lot with our clients, work with, contracts, work with, I manage all our domain inventory, but also, we're trying to streamline our processes, or to, I'd like to just moving Media Options from a brokerage firm to a media company, really. Drew always saw that in originally naming it Media Options, right? But helping this, I guess this isn't a day-to-day answer that I'm giving you. Maybe that's more what you want. But on the high level, I have visions for Media Options and work with Drew to achieve those. That's the high level. Day to day, transferring domains and talking to clients, and looking to see where we can grow, expand, whether it's with our clientele, with our, industry perception. Something like I hear that DomainSherpa was shutting down, and so I do some research, call Drew and say, you got to buy this. We can't let this go, that the industry needs support in these areas. And this is a place where I think we could support. It's not going to bring us financially much of anything, but it's going to grow the industry as a whole. And that is of benefit to Media Options, as well as part of our mission, which has always been to be concerned for the greater good. So I felt that, that was a good fit. So that's the kind of thing that I do.
Gotcha. And so you hit on a bit of that of obviously of in terms of Media Options. And so it does make sense in terms that DomainSherpa.com ended up in the hands of Media Options. And so DomainSherpa is not the only, property that Media Options manages or operates. I think you also do spearfishing, and then what was that? I think like disabilityinsurance.org or something to that nature.
I'm hesitant to say anything definitively, just because we have an umbrella company. I think it's an umbrella company. Sorry, I'm not a lawyer. Internet real estate is so I don't know what Media Options owns or operates versus IRE. But at any rate, we certainly over the years we do develop sites at times. We do like to work in partnerships with other companies who have, we just pool our resources. Like the disability insurance.
Right. And so I guess
a partnership.
You work to identify, I guess, those strategic opportunities and partnerships and kind of work through, just kind of working through, okay, hey, whether or not it makes sense to partner.
Yeah. Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. No, that makes perfect sense, because obviously you hear Media Options, and for the longest I really thought nothing more than domain names. and that was it. I didn't realize that you all had a development aspect or arm or service that you offer.
We do not. We partner usually like disability insurance with a partnership with Revy Media, who are, global leaders in lead gen. So they'll do the development when we partner with them. So we look at, they already have those resources in-house. We have resources in-house, particularly for acquiring fabulous domain names and other resources as well. So we'll pool those together just to be as efficient as possible. We're definitely a lean organization.
Indeed. And so transitioning here in terms of, you mentioned DomainSherpa. So, definitely, I guess, what's life been like since becoming the host of DomainSherpa?
Oh, it's exciting. It's a little, I feel the adrenaline, both, the fun adrenaline and the nervous adrenaline. So I don't have a background in production. So it's a little different for me than, say, for Mike Seiger, who, has, 20 years background or something in production. But he has set me up well and supported me well through this transition and continues to do so. So, really the hardest part for me is really getting to know our audience and what they want to hear, what they're looking to hear. I want to serve, the same quality of content that Mike was so masterful at identifying. And so I want to be sure to honor that tradition and continue that process in particular. So that's I don't have like a calendar for the next 6 quarters, which I would like to have. So my goal for this quarter is to have that calendar for the next 6 quarters of, even if I don't have every single interview lined up, to have an idea of where we're going, what arenas we want to touch on, things like that. So I'm still, even though we acquired it end of October, maybe, I feel like we're in the very final stage of onboarding for me. So, yeah.
And so you're learning some new skills and likely putting some old ones to good use as well.
Absolutely. You're right there, Alvin. So it's been good. My mama would be proud. Or some like 6th grade teacher. Oh, that Tess, she can't stop talking. What is that?
Chatty Cathy.
Kathy. Yeah, Chatty Cathy. Maybe I'll just introduce myself as that one day, give a shout out to like Mrs. Gorala or something. Grade school, right?
So Tess, when did you find out, and what was your thought process when you went, oh, I'm going to be the host now? What was that like?
Well, the way I remember it, which could be, we all have our own perspectives here. The way I remember it, I kept hounding Drew, telling him we needed to buy DomainSherpa, and Drew, wasn't so sure about it. And then Mike wasn't really interested in selling once Drew wanted it. And then the next thing I remember, I was on a conference call with the two of them, and it's like this frozen moment in time for me. I remember Mike saying, I'll sell on one condition, that Tess runs it. And I was like, oh, I stepped in it now. That was not but it's kind of obvious that I would run it, but it didn't occur in all the telling Drew to buy it. I didn't really think what that, I don't know. I think that was probably meant to be, that maybe I wouldn't have, if I'd realized how much work it would be for me, maybe I wouldn't have, and I'm glad that I think that was like a protective layer in my consciousness, because I know it was the right thing to do to buy it for the industry. I know that it supports our industry in ways that I really believe in, and I know that I'm awfully good at hosting and executive producing it. So, and I'm glad for a new challenge in my career path. So I'm up for the challenge, and I'm grateful for it. I think it's been really good so far. We've gotten fabulous feedback,
That makes sense.
I like doing it.
Yeah, it seems like the natural progression, a great fit for you. And then at the same time, obviously, and I think you and I, we kind of discussed this in passing at NamesCon in terms of, as you were telling me a bit of your story and about just working in, for what it's worth, an all predominantly male industry at times. And so obviously this ushers in a new moment in terms of Mike handing off the baton from a male to a female. And so it to me, I remember seeing the first one and thinking, man, this is a great fit in that initial, that initial episode. And so it seems like this is a natural progression. And that being said, I mean, I hit on that point of obviously it being a predominantly male industry. I mean, what have you made of that in terms of what has your experience been throughout the domain industry, and how have you overcome, benefited, from just by chance being a woman?
Yeah, as we all know from GoDaddy's famous ads, there's a reason for those ads having been created that way, is that the target audience for domain name buying are, I believe, 25 to 35-year-old single men. And I think that's still the case in domaining, although it's much larger now, as you can see even from the progression of GoDaddy ads. Now there's a real understanding that small businesses are an enormous component of domain name buyers, but domain name investors, people who are really doing domain name, that's different. And that is still, very male dominated, and that's okay. Every industry starts with something. I know that, there's a lot of talk always about the gold rush, right? And domain names are seen kind of like the gold rush. And Bob Parsons used to kind of parlay as like, who was the first millionaire in the gold rush? Levi Strauss. He was selling tools that people needed for the gold rush. He wasn't digging for gold himself. Right. And so that's what GoDaddy does, right? But it's like, who were all the first gold digger? Well, now that's funny, right?
Tess is saying she's a gold digger.
No, don't say that. I'm saying all the first miners were all men too, and now technology's changed, life has changed. I mean, I guess we fast forwarded like a couple hundred years, right? And anybody can do that. And in the same way with domain names, it started out for whatever reason with a bunch of, smart, forward-thinking geeks and geeky guys. And oh, sorry to all the men who are listening and are like, hey, I wasn't geeky. Yeah, it was mostly geeky guys and some who weren't. But
I think get to it fast.
Yeah. I think that that's not the face of the industry anymore exclusively. I see now when I go to shows compared to when I went years ago, year after year after year, there were like 3 girls I could talk to, and that's fine though. I don't think it's really about if someone's male or female. I just think it's good to have really different ways of thinking and different backgrounds that are brought into domaining, and that is expanding more and more every year. You really see it at each conference as like a milestone, right? But that really opens up different solutions when the domain industry has struggles, right? Or is just moving into the next big thing. Even now we're talking about, cryptocurrency and how that affects domaining. The more perspectives that you have, the better. And so I think our industry is maturing, right? We're maturing in our diversity. We're maturing in our presentation. We're maturing in our options and availability of education instead of, I think, 10 years ago, it kind of felt like people were pretty shut out. Like, I know how to do this and I'm not telling you.
Right.
And I don't think anyone could say that about our ecosystem now, right?
Definitely. And I mean, I look at your experience, over the past 10 to 15 years, and I look and say, you've persevered as well as, you blazed a path for others. And so, thinking in that mindset of being a pioneer, I guess the question that I have for you is like, what do you say, or how do you encourage, like I said, I come back to it definitely being light on women participating. Not to say that we don't, because I mean, there are many different others, KW Boswell, Tessa Whole Club, Kate Buckley, just to name a few, that, that I see, whether it's on social media sites or whether it's different articles being written. How do you encourage that next generation to come along and actually get involved? What would you say?
Wow, thanks, Alvin. That's a great question. I would say you do you. You're curious, find out. You're interested, adventurous, skeptical, look into it. We have all the availability here. There's no risk in listening to, 30 DomainSherpa archives and your podcast, and there's no risk. It's all free. You do you, and just you listen to you. If you have a calling, a draw, a curiosity, you might find this to be your gold rush. You might find it to be your passion, your hobby. It's not, that's the neat thing. It's not the same to everyone, right? Some people are doing this on the side. Some people are hoping they can transition out of their full-time job to do this instead. Some people are doing this full-time, right? It runs the gamut. And so you do you. And it doesn't matter who else is doing it, who else is interested. A lot of people many years ago cite examples of their family and friends making fun of them or being, very negative or skeptical.
Right.
And, this industry is for real. I mean, it supported me and my family for 13 years. So, and certainly I'm not alone in that. I mean, I'm not Frank Schillen living on the Cayman Islands.
Not yet.
But, oh, there you go. Well, it's not really my goal either. But I think for each one of us, we can find, if you have the interest and curiosity in domain names, the resources are available, the risk is low to just discover, educate, and decide if you want to move further into this in any capacity, from hobby to retiree.
Right. So, and I mean, I think that most people think of it as in terms of getting involved as a domain investor, which you're not, just based on your day-to-day responsibilities at Media Options. And so there's the domain investor aspect of it, but then I guess there's also like the industry professionals, so the executive account managers, domain brokers, consultants. So I guess, it's like you said, you do you, but you have to figure out, I guess, and align your strengths, to where you're going to be best successful.
It's true. Yep. And you can always, realign. But I know I've done what has, served me and my family best. And I think everyone has.
What would you say is your best strength? Like, what's your strength?
Wow, Alvin, I don't know. I think my best strength is my curiosity. It makes me a good interviewer for DomainSherpa. It makes me ask questions our listeners, other people would want to ask too. Or a lot of times I hear, oh, you asked a question that I wish I would have thought to ask. So I am pretty curious. And that's kept me, well informed over the years and able to consult and share that knowledge with other people, because I've never felt like it was something to just hang on to myself. I really, my worldview is definitely one of sharing knowledge, building others up. And I think that's how the whole, each one of us grows as we do for each other. And I believe that, personally, professionally, for this industry, all around.
Definitely. Now, last but not least, I'm going to ask this last question in terms of NamesCon. And so obviously we both attended. It was my first year. I don't recall if it was how long you've been attending NamesCon, but that being said, what was your experience like this year?
NamesCon was fantastic. It was actually my first. I stopped going to shows right before NamesCon. So I went very regularly for years with GoDaddy. And then when I started with Media Options, I elected not to go for a while. And I'm ready to be, back in the saddle now. I missed it. And NamesCon, I felt like it was the best show I've ever been to. And certainly, just like everything else, these shows have matured over the years. The content was really valuable. The camaraderie, the openness of the participants has grown over time. And I loved their app, actually. They have this app where someone in the middle of a conversation with Joe Schmo in the hall, all of a sudden both of your phones, buzz or whatever, and you find out, hey, it's time for, this conference or whatever. It just creates an easy moment to say, hey, let's go to this together, or I really want to go see this, bye. And it also reminds you when you get caught up in doing whatever you're doing that there's another session that you're interested in to go see. So I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I went to Name Summit, the inaugural Name Summit last summer in New York City, and I will definitely be there again this summer. And then NamesCon this past January. There's so much movement in our industry, so much change, that I think it's really important to physically be present, connect. And there's just so much only email communication. It's great to physically connect, and you pick up those little nuggets of information. You form a little closer relationship. You hear some story that changes your perception of how you're doing things. So what every conference in every industry is good for, except it's cooler because Domainers has the best conferences, don't you think? I don't know. I guess I haven't been to many others, but they have a pretty good time.
Exactly. And I think, you and I, we had met, I want to say day one of the global reception night. And so that, yeah. I think we were like in the keynote hall with loud music, networking, and a bit of food or finger foods. And so it was definitely one of those environments that, I put it like this, you get in, or you get out of it what you put into it. And so if you walk into an event like that, you're standing around and just kind of milling around and not getting involved or engaged with people, then, you certainly will feel like an outsider. Whereas obviously I think I had come up to you and introduced myself, and lo and behold, here we are a couple months after the fact. And so I think that's probably one of my big takeaways from NamesCon is just, getting engaged and understanding that, what you put into it is what you'll get out of it. So
that's a great approach. You're right.
Yeah. And so I know that's one of the things that, I look forward to in terms of, I know you mentioned Name Summit, which is, I believe, August 6th through the 7th in New York. And so you can visit namesummit.com to get more information about it. I guess, Tess, is there anything else to share? I know you're that bubbly personality. I know you have something, one last.
Well, I sure appreciate you having me on here, Alvin. If there's something, I can't think of anything else to share per se, except maybe to throw out a little shade to the East Coast. Sorry about your crummy weather here in Arizona. We're struggling sunshine. But other than that, all I can really think to say is, for DomainSherpa is spectacular. I hope that, to the audience here, I hope you've checked it out. If you haven't, I warmly welcome you over there. And definitely on DomainSherpa, if you have feedback for me, particularly what topics you want to hear on the show, we have our own ideas, but I feel like in that area, I have not received a lot of feedback from our viewers. I've received a lot of encouragement and appreciation, and I sure appreciate that. But I have not received much of anything of saying, hey, will you have this person on, or will you discuss this topic? So I want to make sure that my direction as executive producer is also a direction that's serving our viewers. So send me some feedback. Let me know what you think, or talk to me at Name Summit. But that's too far away for me to wait. So call or email me now.
So I was about to say, so Tess, how should they go about contacting you in terms of providing their recommendations for shows or suggestions for interviewees?
Oh, they could send it to info@DomainSherpa.com. That would be fabulous. And actually on DomainSherpa.com, there's like a form that they can fill out, or they could just email. And I directly manage that email.
Okay. Well, perfect. Well, there you have it. That's been our time today. Tess, thank you again for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you at Name Summit.
Alvin, you are a spectacular personality, and the domain industry is lucky to have you. I'm so glad we connected today. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Kickstart Commerce, where we share search marketing and domain name investing strategies to help grow your business. Last but not least, please subscribe to this podcast and weekly newsletter by visiting kickstartcommerce.com. Thanks, and that's all for now.